right, guys. I thought it would be interesting to show everyone the evolution of some of Bernie Tostenson's art, our Brand X artist, and kind of how things morphed and changed or were pulled through from one graphic to the next throughout the 80s. So one of the earliest Brand X graphics was the Knucklehead. Patrick's holding a Knucklehead sticker here. You can see it's a simple skull and crossbones. The Knucklehead evolved into the Deadhead. So if you'll notice, the skull and crossbones is basically the same, but we have the addition of the crack in the skull and the missing tooth.
And the eyeballs.
And the eyeballs, exactly. And this blood splatter was an evolution from an earlier deck Bernie did, which was the Lester Kasai deck for Sims. The Deadhead graphic then evolved into the graphic that we call the wings. So you'll notice this is the same skull. It's got the crack and the missing tooth, but now it's got the wings. So the evolution of that wings graphic was the first X-Con graphic. So you'll see now we've got the skull and the wings have been turned up, which is totally freaking rad. And we've got this X-Con emblem here, which is an X.
C-O-N.
So that actually says X-Con. Then we've got Brand X with the bones crossing form the X. We've got additional blood splatter here, which is a pull-off of the Deadhead deck, as well as the blood splatter here. And now we have the addition of this heart being held by the skeleton's hand and the snakes. So the evolution of the X-Con 1 is the X-Con 2. So you'll see Bernie took the heart and skull fingers and moved it up to where the skull was. The wings are coming off that. We've got a new version of the X-Con right up, and that's C-O-N. And now we have this sword here with the cross. So keep that in mind. The snakes carried over, and we have a new X at the bottom here. So after two X-Cons, Bernie, with his sense of humor, moved on to a actual convict during this period of time in the late 80s. Ed Gein was in the news, so he evolved this graphic to the Ed Gein, and you see he carried through the wings, and then where we originally had the skull and then just the X-Con top became Ed Gein's head. The sword from the X-Con 2 turned into Ed Gein's sword. You'll see the blood splatter that carried over in these graphics is here as well. The heart that carried through is also here. And we have a new X being formed with the hatchets. So these three decks are just so spectacular together, with the coup de grace being the last one. Although I think my favorite is the X-Con 1.
I'm starting to really...
I know, the X-Con 2 is amazing when you really think of everything that's in it. And we're going to have an evolution of that to an X-Con 3 in the coming year. So check these out online, guys. We have multiple original shapes, tons of colors. Brand X, Bernie Tostenson.